Hi everyone, we found a spot of service out on Lopez Island, out on Iceberg Point, and I couldn't help but get started a little early because Rachel and Evelyn are being so cute, peeking in these tide pools. You can see we're out on a beautiful day. Got the whole team. Hi Jen, hi Eli, and Stina being part of the Easton family on this adventure. Stoked to be part of it. And it is just gorgeous today, and the tide is low, so of course we had to go out to the beach and see what we could find. And we're kind of starting in this high intertidal zone, and you can see the high tide pools. Yes, we can take a closer look.
They were the first enemy I knew that could split in two.
Oh, cool.
But like enemies are, they're really slow. So
Careful, Stina. Teachers might be living in that one.
But
You're right, Evelyn.
when we were at Salt Creek, we saw me and Dad saw
any kind of one.
splitting in two.
All right, let's let Stina talk.
Sweet. Yeah, no, I think, well, Eli is definitely describing binary fission excellently. Thumbs up, Eli. Bing! Yeah. And that is a cool adaptation that these little buddies have. You'll notice they live in this big group, likely because they're all the same individual, just cloned out. And so you can see some of them are closed up, some of them are open with those feeding tentacles. I noticed there's a tiny little tide pool sculpin swimming around here.
There's so many.
Yeah.
And there's some that are like, oh, those are
I don't know if you can point it out
because
because
you definitely can't
so
tell.
cryptic. Yeah. So very good
There's
at camouflage.
one.
Oh my gosh, there's another
There's
one.
two. There's a third over there. There's so many of them. Look at those anemones open under there. And look at all the hermit crabs on the surf grass.
Totally. Oh, look at that. There's a big fish kind of by your thumb.
Oh.
Ooh. Hello.
Also.
That's cool. I've seen one.
No, he doesn't want to grab. He wants to swim.
Actually, ooh, yeah. Can you put it out in the middle of the pool?
Show us
your backstroke.
Your swimming skills. Nice. He's like, I just really would like to grab
really
onto
good at
something.
hiding elsewhere. Whee! It's not fast
Get
enough.
me to the eel grass.
Yeah, but look at that camouflage and those tiny little gripping feet. Just boom, gone. I'm noticing this surf grass here looks pretty heat stressed.
Yeah,
not
top,
surprised.
The top section, but because it's a grass, this the dead parts of the leaves will die back, and then the living part at the base will just keep growing. It's just like mowing the lawn.
Nice.
Ooh, look at this.
Oh, nice. Is that special seagrass laver?
Red algae that only lives on seagrass. And it's a problem for this seagrass because it just clogs and blocks out a lot of the sunlight. So quite often it'll rip free. It also provides a little more stress in the waves because it's like having a big parachute on them. So it catches in the current and breaks off pieces of that eelgrass, which this one has washed loose. So this algae is just going to hang out until the tide is done.
Though. I'm also loving all this coralline algae.
Yeah.
It's definitely something we don't see a lot of in the South
Look
Puget
at the
Sound.
size of this isopod. My goodness.
Oh yeah, doing the backstroke. Yeah.
Oh, that fish went right for it. Do you see the fish?
Nope.
Right here.
There it is.
He totally
kind of
came
a
over
big,
and was
a
like,
big chunk.
I think you're biting off more than you can chew there, friend. Yeah, but back to the coralline algae. This is a red algae that incorporates calcium carbonate into its body structures, and so it's kind of crunchy. And that gives it a bit more structure, and it's able to survive in really high wind and wave swept areas very well.
Yeah, I like when it kind of dies back. It looks like bones.
It does look like bones. That's a great way to describe it.
This would be a good Halloween feature. And for all of you tuning in, welcome. We're out at Iceberg Point on Lopez Island. If you want to let us know where you're watching from, and if you have any questions as we go along, we're going to do a nice long tide pool adventure here because, you know, we just started and it's the high intertidal zone, and look at all this low tide there's left to explore. And yeah, we're gonna get lower because the tide's gonna come back in shortly, if it's not doing so already. Yeah. This is where we get to remind you that everything on the beach is slippery, which is confusing because, yeah, except for barnacles. So, yeah, this is where I'm like filming and walking on ground that's trying to kill me. It's fine. Yeah, but just kind of in a zonation check, you can see we have those barnacles up high, and as we move closer to the water, starting to see all this rockweed or popweed. Definitely more soft-bodied anemone. There's, you know, that pool up there makes it possible for them to live higher, but now we're just on open rock faces, and they're usually covered in water enough times in the day that they're totally fine hanging out during this low tide.
And people always ask us, how do you walk around without stepping on things? And the truth is, we do step on things. But I'm aiming for the very toughest of tough creatures, the barnacles. One, because they give my boots a little bit of tread and grip on this, like,
Okay, sorry about that. We're gonna not go into
we're gonna go
the cliff face.
Service blocking rocks.
Yep.
Oh, there's that sponge.
Ooh, nice. But yeah, Rachel was saying we do step on things, but we try to step lightly. Obviously, we're not sprinting across the low intertidal zone.
I'm not wearing stilettos that are going to concentrate my weight. I've got these nice rubber boots with a soft, squishy sole.
Yeah.
That helps protect animals as well.
If you were wearing like something like a hard-soled hiking boot, that does a lot of scraping, just crunching barnacles. So, yeah.
It's very
Anything brown is slippery. Anything red is slippery. Anything green is slippery. All right.
I found a very primitive and amazing animal. This is a sponge. And I'm not positive what species this is because we get a little bit different species of sponge down in the South Sound that I'm more familiar with. But this piece right here is kind of broken, so you can see inside it a little bit what the inside of a sponge looks like. And it's kind of like what you would imagine. It's got these little tiny internal pockets and channels for water to move. These are kind of like chimney spikes where the water flows out of. Those are called osculums. And the sponges are filter feeding, so they're pulling in. The service again?
Oh, well, I just can't go too low. Hello again. We're back. Filter feeders.
Filter feeders, like so many things. There's so much plankton in our waters that if you're a filter feeder, you got it made.
Made like these folks out on a boat on a beautiful day. Love it, love it.
There are a few tiny rocks here that I think I could maybe turn and get
See what's under.
Here. They're definitely in the lower intertidal zone because I'm starting to see some kelp. And if we look out, you can see so much kelp is out there. Tons of variety in species. We've got the big bull kelp, which is those kind of the main thing that you're seeing on the surface. But we also have midrib kelp and feather boa kelp and sea cabbage and
sugar kelp.
There's just so many different kinds of kelp here.
Sieve kelp. All right.
So I'm gonna flip. Ooh, before I flip.
Oh yeah, nice. Some snail eggs.
Snail eggs.
Looks like a little intertidal donut.
Yeah, it does. It does indeed. And I've seen those eggs be like bright green and yellow and pinkish. Ooh, that's a pretty anchored rock. Might not be anything underneath there. Ooh. Amphipods.
Oh my gosh.
Look at all those
For
amphipods.
days. Also some other little eggs of sorts.
Yep, and probably some bryozoans and ooh, I don't know if your camera can focus on that hermit crab's shell.
Ugh,
But
it's gorgeous.
it's an animal. The snail is a top snail, a jeweled top snail, which they totally look like jewels. They're very beautiful. But there is an itty bitty teeny tiny hermit crab inside there.
Hey, little hermit crab.
So tiny.
Oh, and yeah, it's not quite catching how pearly it is.
It is
It's really pretty.
beautiful. Oh, and I didn't even notice this little friend rad here.
Hey.
The 6th 6-rayed sea star. Very well named.
I would
they had
say
6 instead of 5.
we were just reading about 6-rayed sea stars last night, and as we do,
As we do, because, you know.
we're on vacation. And there's 2 varieties of 6-rayed stars. There's the colorful, which come in like pink varieties.
Pink and purple.
And then there's the drab 6-rayed star, which I have a feeling.
But that you're not amazing.
Not rad.
You're
not
super cool.
not rad.
Yes,
Actually,
rad,
I wonder.
but drab.
I want to peek at its little suction cup feet. And
Oh, he's munching on a snail.
yeah, nice.
Oh, it's waving
It's
at you.
waving. Oh, hello, everybody. Again, for those of you tuning in, let us know if you have any questions as we go along. It's fun to know that we have some folks wishing they were here with us.
Oh, I wish you were here with me too.
I think we're going to be doing public beach walks soon, so we're excited for that. We will beach with y'all. Anyways. Notice Rachel being very careful. There's also fun just like in these areas to look for evidence of life. So here's a shell of a big mussel, which hopefully wasn't a victim of that heat spell.
Very well could be.
Yeah, here's some of that orange sponge, which makes me wonder if there's the little forbidden gushers nearby, aka the orange sea slugs.
They're around. There's a little red nudibranch that eats this red sponge and lays a coil of eggs. I don't know if you can see that little spiral. You might just have to trust me that it's there. There's a little spiral of eggs. Those are the nudibranch eggs. They always kind of lay them in a
Little clump.
Here's more of that coralline algae.
Oh yeah,
This
that
one's
one's
more
super branchy.
So pretty to see. And then we've got some nice big holdfasts of kelp in here and all kinds of variety of algae. Oh, Stina!
Yes. This
So-
is very cool to see.
Okay, stop. Waves, stop. Okay, there are weird animals here. These little wavy bits. Oh, it stuck to me. Cool.
Thanks, friend.
This is a jellyfish. I'm being stung by a jellyfish right
Does it
now.
hurt?
No.
Why doesn't it hurt, Rachel?
My skin is probably way too thick for this jelly's little stinging cells to.
Oh my gosh, they're all over.
They're all over. So these are called stalked jellies. And instead of having a medusa free-floating planktonic life stage, they have this stalked behavior.
I love how that one is like blending
It is blending in.
the algae it's on. Yeah.
I got some great photos yesterday, so stay tuned to our Instagram page.
We'll do
For
a
that.
we'll
Make
do
sure
a
you're
little
following us
creature
there.
feature on our weekly wild side
Oh, yeah.
coming up.
Here's
Also,
another drab 6-rayed. Cruising along here in this intertidal. Oh, and this one, because he was underwater and still quite moving, is now attached to me. He's showing off their
toes.
suction cup toes very well. I'll lay you down there, friend. That drab coloration actually benefits
Yeah.
that animal pretty well.
that is some good camouflage right there. Gorgeous. You can see it's madreporite, that little spot on top. Not worried that that's any signs of wasting, because that's the important part of its body that filters water in so that it can have the seawater that doesn't have life in it to give it life. It's like its blood, which is pretty cool.
Get the plankton out of your body.
Yeah. Don't want a crab growing inside you. There's some more of those little donut-like
So they're everywhere.
eggs. I like that some of them are red.
Check this out.
Oh, cool.
So I saw some out there and I didn't think I could get to it, but this is an animal called a kelp bryozoan.
Yeah, so first maybe we'll
It's on a piece
affirm
of
that, yeah, this is a piece of kelp with
with
stuff growing
tons
on
of
it.
animals on them, and you can kind of see each individual colony and the borders
I'm gonna zoom in.
where it looks like a map.
Oh my gosh, that's
But I always say that this
so
is
cool.
an animal that crochets itself into existence. And they are alive. Each little tiny little dot is one zooid. And then they live in a colony. They share resources, which is pretty cool. So if one edge is getting more food than the other edge, they'll actually transport nutrients across their bodies to enrich the whole colony.
So there's also a good chance to, there's some different sea slugs and other animals that associate with bryozoans like this.
I was hoping to see one.
So
I didn't
peeking around to
immediately
see
one.
if there's
See if
any
there's
of
a
those
little
tinies.
gelatinous blob on there. It's very cryptic.
Yeah, here's kind of a nice that contrast with the brown kelp. So you can really see that animal and its cool way of being. Little lobed edges. Just gorgeous. Good to know, good to know. I don't know. The stalked jellies are still getting me. They're just so cool. Waving in the wind. Not the wind, the waves. Why do we keep saying that?
I said wind earlier too. I don't know. I probably put it in your brain.
What a weird, cool animal. Love it. Love
I'm
it.
always mesmerized by just the species of kelp that are here. There are so many species. Like, I don't know what that one is.
Yeah, I'm seeing a chunk of it over
Very
here.
ribby.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
This is kind of that exciting thing. We spend a lot of time in the South Puget. Very familiar with all the species there, but as you make your way north, so being that we're in the San Juan Islands, you start to get different critters, and you can see this one has that really strong holdfast, and the stipe, and then this blade that has these really distinct ribs. So that'll be a fun one to look up in the seaweed book a little bit later. I'm hearing Rachel exclaim and wonder what you find. Da-da-da. Okay, we're reconnected. What did you find?
I found the world famous wandering meatloaf.
Oh, tell me more.
One of my favorite mollusks. It is this weird blobby thing, and it is the world's largest chitin. Its real name is the gumboot chitin, and it is a fantastic species that scrapes algae from the rocks using a chainsaw tongue called a radula, and it is just such a weird creature. Most chitins will have 8 plates along their back that you can see from the outside, but the girdle on this animal actually comes up and covers that, which is super cool.
We believe in you,
It's a little graceful kelp.
darling.
This is a species that can decorate, and that little piece of algae on its face was put there by the crab on purpose to disguise its shape so that no
Can
one would
blend right in.
notice it.
Cute.
Totally works.
Look it, I'm just a chunk of seaweed,
What
living my best life.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That chitin also blends in surprisingly well.
Surprisingly well. The way I always find chitins is just by their shape.
Yeah.
Like, there's very few things that are perfectly oval in the world, or at least in the intertidal zone, and chitins are almost always just a little
A little potato, but really meatloaf.
really meatloaf.
Absolutely
And
an
they
intertidal
move, They
meatloaf.
walk around. They're slow moving, but they manage to get around.
Yeah, I'm also noticing that like green rope is a type of seaweed next to your boot.
It is. This is super
tufty.
fun underneath the microscope. Because
Yeah.
it's just got so much surface area. There are all kinds of microscopic little things all over it. It's fantastic.
Love it, love it.
All right, let's go that way.
Perfect.
This
Yeah,
way looks
that
a little more
this
safe.
way looks epic, but as we get closer to those cliffs, we lose service. So, as curious as we are about the rocks and things over there, we're gonna take you this way. Bumper-da-boom. Slowly and surely. Here's more of that, what that red algae on the eelgrass looks like when it's not in the water. You can see how it's much prettier when it's fluffy and frilly, supported by the waves. Are any of these rocks flippable for you? They seem like there'd be some interesting intertidal fish in here. There.
If they're too like down in,
Perfect.
oh, here are some friends.
Excellent.
Lots underneath this rock. So I'm gonna let those fish
You can just relax. We're not
calm
gonna eat
down.
you.
That is a response to avoiding being eaten by like a raccoon or a river otter, things that can flip rocks in the intertidal zone. So those long eel-like fish are probably a type of gunnel.
Yeah, looks
Hard to
like
say definitively because they have such tiny little
they're-
characteristics.
Yeah, saddleback or a
Itty bitty.
coxcomb.
Little tiny guys.
Reconnect. Oh, okay, here we are.
Things up for you.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we saw the fish.
And then we've got some urchins here. These are green sea urchins. They are herbivores, so they're going to be eating kelp. Sometimes you can actually even see their little 5 self-sharpening teeth that are housed in an organ called the Aristotle's lantern. Because I guess that is kind of what it looks like. In the dead urchins, you can see the structure kind of remains after they're gone, which is kind of cool. And they embody the spiny skin phylum. They are the spiniest of all the spiny skins, but they're related to things like sea stars, sea cucumbers, and sand dollars. And they're just a cool little find here. Also underneath this rock there were a couple of crabs who have now
Scuttled.
settled. There's a little graceful kelp crab here. There is this is a porcelain crab, a filter feeding crab. There are a couple of
Sponge.
well, more sponge too, but
And a
sea star.
what's juvenile? It's so nice to see little baby sea stars.
Yeah, here's another one. 2 different varieties of star. This one a 6-rayed. Drab or colorful?
I don't know.
It's a judgment call right now. I'm gonna wait for you to
Get bigger.
either get bigger or get prettier.
Oh my gosh,
Here's
these
another 6-rayed.
tiny little urchins are so cute.
They are darling.
There's a black clawed mud crab.
Exactly back. Making sure not to crush any of the animals underneath it. Left home for tons of things. If we were to just leave it like this, everything that's on the rock and cemented to it would perish. Everything under here would be vulnerable to predation. So we want to make sure that we flip this kind of back in place. So I'm actually going to, my mobile creatures, I'm going to just switch them a little bit out of the way so they don't get crushed. The fish will be just fine, I promise. I don't want to handle them because they freak out. Ooh, my claw. I did not see you there, crab.
Oh. Sorry, I'm gonna document this.
Yeah, feel free.
The pinchy, we call these oh, hi, it's me. I didn't mean to flip.
My goodness, look at that pinch I just got.
It dented you.
It dented me good.
Yeah.
Yowzers.
Those
I was trying to save your life, friend.
black clawed mud crabs are crabbier than I remember. But usually, I'm surprised because they usually just do the defensive, like,
Well, but I put my hand right
into it. Well, I guess if you put your hand right into the claw.
So we'll let you go back under your rock. Carry on, little friend. No hard feelings.
I'm glad we survived. Whew.
I mean, I am gonna have a mark from that.
Yeah, that's
I haven't been pinched by that ruined my streak.
yeah. How many?
It's been like 10 years since I've been pinched.
Well, you saw it here, folks. This video is going to be deleted, and you saw nothing. And we'll just kidding.
Just kidding.
Pinches happen.
Cool find.
Oh, tell us about this.
So this
Interesting.
is a blade of the bull kelp. So all those big stems you see out there are from the bull kelp, and they have these great blades. And this is a special blade. See how it's thick in the center? This is called a sorry patch. And this is part, kind of a thickened section of the kelp blade that contains the spores for the next generation of bull kelp. So every year that a bull kelp grows, makes these spores, drops these off, they'll drift a little bit farther away and then settle. This releases the spores that will eventually produce eggs or sperm to make the next cycle which is the long branchy part. So this is one part of a very complicated alternation of generations that kelp has. But it's a good sign. We want to see lots of this because it means more kelp. And our bull kelp in particular has been in decline all throughout the Salish Sea. And so scientists are actually studying it to learn more about how maybe humans could intervene and help bolster the kelp population to historic levels where it used to be. Because it's just such an important species. So many things eat it, and then it provides so much structure and habitat. It reduces wave action. It's just really important species.
Yeah, it's like if you took down a forest. The kelp forest is the forest of our ocean communities.
It's like got 3 big ribs.
Yeah, we'll make sure we're talking loud enough. Sorry for those of you who can't hear us. I don't think I'm blocking the microphone.
Pretty little snails.
Oh yeah, I wonder if that's looks like a lacuna of some type.
Nice.
Lacuna matata. What a wonderful snail. All right.
Testing out how deep I can.
How far do your boots go?
Can I go? Peek around underneath the kelp.
So
Oh, there's another gunnel, more 6th raid, another 6th raid. There's lots of things here.
I might pass the camera your way so you can do.
Let me grab my hand first.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. More of that pretty orange sponge, and underneath these big thickened pieces of the seersucker kelp. I just noted, oh, there goes a fish. You'll have to take my word for it. I did hear that. What was that?
I wonder, it sounds kind
Seals?
of like harbor seal.
Yeah.
The sea lions sound a lot more like guttural gross.
Loud and a little obnoxious. I do wonder if you keep your eyes out over there, Steve, if you see something interesting.
I'm hoping that's the hey guys, watch out, there's orcas.
Oh yeah, wouldn't that be a cool thing
Okay with that.
to have swim by? Oh, this coral and algae is just so beautiful. All right, I'm sure.
Some of the sargassum.
Oh yeah, it's got little floats
Tiny
along
gas
it.
bladders.
We've got a nice piece of sargassum in the touch tanks at the Skinsey house. You should go check it out and get a nice up close view of how it does its floatiness. Yeah, there's literally life in every inch of this place, which is great to see. This is a huge amount of productivity happening right here at the shore. Should we head maybe up and over? Yeah, why not?
I also want to point out, Eli had a really good wonder
Oh.
earlier. He was like, why are all these logs up here?
That is a great wonder.
And you can imagine the storms that happen
Yeah.
out in this exposed area. Those waves are powerful enough to move these huge logs up onto this high part of the intertidal zone.
Yeah, and those logs are a great kind of indicator for just how high the tide goes. But they also then break down and provide more nutrients and homes for different things. So we see interesting life on those big drifted logs.
I did appreciate Jen's theory that it was just a bunch of bored teenagers. Strong bored teenagers.
Could very well be.
Here's a happy big mussel.
Oh, a big happy mouse. How do you know it's happy? Is it smiling?
They're close. Oh, and the ridged limpets.
Oh, nice.
So another animal we don't see a lot of in the South Sound. But they have these kind
This is
of
a big-
radiating.
That is a big mussel.
Yeah. Mussels? Are you moving the logs?
It could be. They got big mussels. Of course, mussels is spelled differently. But yeah, here's just kind of a nice view of what it's like at the beach at low tide. We have this awesome window of opportunity to get down into the lower tidal heights and see all the life that is here. Hopefully you've learned a little from our beach walk today, and hopefully you had a little bit of fun with us too. That's the Harbor Wow Watch model.
I also like that we can hear the life. I don't know if you heard that kingfisher or a little seal
Or harbor
friend out in the
seal.
distance. But yeah, it's definitely fun to have a rocky shore to explore because
Yeah.
it's kind of a different, similar but different variety of life doing its thing out during the low tide. And we're stoked to share that with you all.
So while we're up here in the San Juan Islands, we encourage you to get out to our South Sound beaches. We've got low tides all throughout the weekend. Consult your local tide table and go get your feet wet. And just remember to leave the beach better than you found it, picking up a little bit of trash and making sure that you return animals' homes, and you're just super, super gentle. This is a very stressful time for almost all these animals, and so we want to make sure that we're not making life just that much harder for them. So be a good guest at the beach. You can head over to Harbor Wild Watch's website for more guest guidelines.
Before you go.
And before you
I
go.
found a cool dead thing.
Ooh, a cool dead thing. This is a cool dead thing. Ew.
Dad told me to get it from over there. Look.
Nice. So this is a shell, the remains of a chitin. So you can see the top section where the plates kind of overlap and articulate, and then the fleshy girdle, the skin around it that holds them in place, and then the center and all the organs of the animal are gone. So pretty cool to see that beautiful blue color, like a cerulean blue. It's gorgeous. But yeah, there we go. Sorry to end on a dead note, but you know, such is life. We've got we already sang some Lion King earlier, so now we'll just sing Circle of Life. Learn, have fun.